So, one of my friends invited me to play this game called Abyssus. I think that's how you pronounce it. It's apparently part of something called Steam's Next Fest. I say apparently because in all honesty, even though I love Steam as a platform, I don't usually follow their marketing trends that much. Anyway, Abyssus is a fast-paced brine-punk roguelike first-person shooter that dropped its demo recently. It's got Risk of Rain style synergies as I would describe it, extremely smooth performance, and a surprising amount of polish for a demo. After trying it out, we quickly called in the full squad and began to dive deep, no pun intended. Hey, this is Menonot. I like checking out games that show promise and potential. Games made with care, not just to sell, but because the devs clearly love what they're making. If you're into that too, hit the like button and subscribe if you want to support this kind of content. And leave a comment if there's a game you think I should look into next. Now, onto the video. I usually prefer going in blind when trying out new games. It helps me get a better sense of how clearly the devs present their mechanics and gameplay without prior knowledge influencing my experience. I get to experience how the game unfolds as intended, which gives me a better feel for the developer's thought process, pacing, and how intuitive things are without external help. So, booting the game up, I first dove into the tutorial. It does a decent job introducing the basics, but like most tutorials, it is not going to teach you everything. I actually misunderstood how upgrades and in-match progression worked at first. I even called it a bad game design until my friend who played earlier explained the system properly. I then realized I was overcomplicating it. It's not that there's too many systems, it's just that some mechanics aren't explained very well. But once you get past that small learning curve, things make sense, and you can figure out the rest by just playing. Gameplay wise, Abyssus feels very smooth. Movement is responsive and fluid. Initially, it made me a bit dizzy, but after bumping up the FOV to 110, it fixed all that. Combat feels extremely solid, and most importantly, the performance was great. I was running at 120 FPS at 2K Ultra settings, and that's rare for a demo, especially one this polished. Even my friend who was running an older 1060 Ti also had no issues and was running at perfect frames. At the start, your weapon selection is limited. You begin with the engine rifle, which works fine. As you explore, you unlock more weapons through pickups and achievements. What I really liked was the mod and ability unlock system. Instead of just leveling up or buying them, you earn them through achievements. For example, to unlock the unload mod for the shotgun, you need to defeat 30 enemies with melee attacks with the shotgun. But this is where things get a little frustrating. Some of those achievements are harder to pull off in multiplayer, especially with a full squad, because kills and objectives get split between players. And not mechanically, it's just the way it happens. So if you want to unlock something specific, you're often better off going off solo and grinding it out. This turns what could be a fun unlock while play system into something more grindy and disconnected. I get the idea behind it, but it ends up encouraging players to step away from the fun just to chase progress. Although a counter argument can be made with, it encourages solo play. Let me know what you think in the comments. Now, how is this game balanced? Some weapons feel great, others not so much. My philosophy is that devs should balance upwards. Instead of nerfing the fun stuff, bring weaker items up to that level. The Gatling gun, for example, was satisfying to use. The pistol felt weak, the shotgun was alright, but the Tesla gun?
You're brutalizing.
I'm against using the balls, but the primary fire is awesome.
Dude, the balls are insane.
The balls. You can't forget about the balls.
You can't ignore the balls, man.
You cannot ignore the balls, man. I mean, dude.
No.
This is 101, man.
That thing goes hard. It is destructive, fast, and has a high proc rate for effects. Easily my favorite. And I know people have compared Abyssus to Deep Rock Galactic, and I'm sure maybe in the sense that it's co-op and mission based, but to me, it feels more like Risk of Rain. The way upgrades stack and trigger off each other, creating chain reactions, and the fact that it's random every run, kinda makes it that sort of game. But does this game do it well? It definitely does. Though I will say in the demo, it is a bit lacking, but I'm sure in the full game, you'll be able to get crazy combos going. That said, speaking of variety, the weapon mods feel hit or miss. A lot of them feel like side grades or even downgrades. They're too situational and don't feel rewarding enough for the effort it takes to unlock them. I get that some are meant to add variety, but this is just a small rant. Anyway, let's talk about the core loop. You pick a mission, and by the way, there's only one in the demo right now. You choose your weapon and mods, you load in, and you start clearing rooms. Now, I'm not sure if it's chance-based, but at the end of every room, an upgrade structure might appear, such as a blessing altar, being the most common. Activating it presents a few random power choices, or elements as I call them. You pick one, and then it gives you random upgrades tied to that element. Be careful though, once you choose the element, you can't go back. Also, this is the part that had me most confused at first. When picking upgrades, pay attention to whether they affect your primary, secondary fire, or ability. I do feel this needs small icons or indicators to make that clear. Anyway, if at any point you press tab, the scoreboard will appear. Here you can see your current powers, the damage each player has done, your money, your keys, which are used to open special chests, and what everyone else has picked. It's very useful. Also for upgrades, other structures like the Ancient Forge work similarly to the Blessing Altar. It's just different types of upgrades. So once you figure out how the Blessing Altar works, you pretty much know the rest. Anyway, the best part of this game in my opinion is messing around with different built-in effects. Like I said earlier, it's very Risk of Rain-like in how things stack. I had a build with the Tesla gun's secondary fire paired with the aspect of spirit element. That element or power starts off weak, but once you get going, it goes and it becomes a room cleaner. The Tesla's secondary is already powerful. It moves quickly and slows down your enemies while sapping everything around them. With the right upgrades, it triggers all your on-hit effects, and in my case, it wiped everything on sight. It's the kind of synergy that makes me want to keep playing, just to try out more combinations. Also, when you finish a run, either by beating the boss or dying, you're rewarded with soul fragments. These are spent on permanent upgrades to carry on to future missions. That includes rerolls, which are super important. Rerolls let you refresh your element choices at the altar, giving you more control over your build. Now, when it comes to co-op versus solo, like most games, playing with others is just more fun. It's not like Left 4 Dead or Deep Rock, where teamwork is critical though. You can be fully self-sufficient in this game. That said, having a group makes things smoother and more fun overall. Enemies seem to scale based on player count, which is fair, though if you're granting a specific achievement, solo might be better just because there's less competition for kills and control. That leads me to another thing. There's not much actual teamwork in terms of mechanics. It's mostly just everyone shoots stuff, which is not a bad thing, but there seems to be no synergy between roles or combos you build together, at least not yet. It's not a deal breaker, but it's something to consider. Once you beat the final boss in the demo, a new structure called the Deep Water Tank appears. This lets you spend brine canisters to enable difficulty modifiers for future runs. I could only unlock one during the demo, but it looks like it'll add more replay value by increasing risk and reward. As for the progression system in general, it's solid. It doesn't do anything groundbreaking, but it works, and that's not a bad thing. Familiar mechanics used well are better than complicated systems that just don't stick. That said, once my friends and I beat the boss and unlocked what we consider to be the strongest weapons and mods, we didn't feel the need to jump back in. There wasn't much left to chase. This highlights something the devs could consider looking into, like giving unlocks a more long-term value, either through power or through utility, like certain mods being required to access certain areas, chests, or challenges. As it stands, once you've unlocked the good stuff, the incentive kind of just drops. Theme-wise, the game nails it. Even though it feels more like ruin diving than deep sea exploration, the aesthetic is consistent and it doesn't feel overused. Weapons are animated well, and the sound design is balanced, present without being annoying or repetitive. And when it comes to bugs, none of us experienced any, and that alone deserves credit, especially for a demo. Overall, Abyssus is definitely worth trying if the genre appeals to you. The demo is free and runs well in mid-range setups. My rig is running at 2070 Super, and one of my buddies is using a 1060 Ti, and we both had great performance. If you're interested, I suggest checking out the demo before it ends. As of now, I'm leaning towards picking this up day one. Anyway, this was Metanaut, see you on the next one.